Hello, my name is Rose Cabral. Thank you for joining today for Home is Where the Pride is. This is the June episode of Demystifying Real Estate. And feel free if you want to write in the chat where you're joining us from or how you heard about this. That'd be awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so that I can keep track of what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. Present. All right, so I should probably open my chat so I can see all of the comments. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, is that working? Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it's June. June is Pride Month. So I thought it would be fun to talk about homeownership and pride. And yeah, so let's dive in. But before we do that, I want to share that you belong here, especially if you are a member of the queer community, trans, bi, gay, bisexual, lesbian, all of the different intersex, all of the different, and what am I thinking of? All of the different identities that make up the queer community. If you're an artist, if you're creative, you're a social justice champion, maybe you're renting, maybe you already own your house, maybe you are retired, maybe you are here to learn more about how to buy a house. You could be partnered, divorced, widowed, a member of many different generations. Just know that you are welcome here. And we're glad you're here. Okay, my chat disappeared, so I put it back in. So tonight we are going to talk about how do we get here to this moment today. We're going to talk about home ownership stats. We are going to talk about real estate news, and we are going to be talking about becoming a homeowner. So, moving along, why this matters to you, why you might be here, and feel free to share in the chat why you're here or any questions you have. But one of the reasons you might be here is because you're dreaming about becoming a homeowner with your partner. Maybe you have multiple partners and you all want to become homeowners. Or maybe you hear horror stories and want to make sure you work with somebody who has your best interests at heart, no matter how you identify or who you love. Perhaps you want to ensure that you can get a home in a neighborhood where you can fully express yourself and feel safe and secure. So I want you to imagine for a moment if you can navigate the home buying process without constantly being asked if you have a husband or a wife. I know a lot of my clients, they told me, they're like, hey, you never even asked. And I was like, oh yeah, I never asked because it's not a big deal to me. And but they talk about filling out forms and having to constantly see then husband, wife, binary, like options instead of our full range of options. Yeah. So let's imagine if it could be different. So I would love to hear if anyone would like to share what you're most interested in learning today, and I will take a sip of water. All right, so we have just interested in learning more. We have some allies in the chat who are excited to hear how they can better support the community, and some people who would like to be homeowners. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so oh, also, let's see. I'm particularly interested in if there are any LGBT plus organizations that have programs geared toward first-time homeownership. Great question. We will get into that. Okay, so who am I? I'm Rose Cabral. Nice to meet you. Hello. And I have a cat who is going to turn 21 years old. I have a chicken. I went to a conference in April. You can see up here Arlen Hamilton, who's a Black queer woman who invests in underestimated founders and companies. And it was an amazing conference called Your First Million Live. Arlen is awesome. And Jen is the other person in this photo who is also awesome. And I am a member of the Sacramento Community Land Trust. I'm on the board. And I also advocate for our neighbors who live outside, who have fluid housing. A lot of the time they are called unhoused neighbors. So I am a big advocate for them. Also, we had our Pride last weekend in Sacramento. So that is a photo of me in front of the Capitol with my flag. I'm also a real estate change agent, and I have a podcast called Home is Where, ... where people talk about what home means to them. I love listing my clients' homes for sale. So you can see a photo here of me in front of one of those houses. I like to do volunteer work. So our company actually was able to grant this organization Safe Harbor. We gave them a grant this year. Ms. Moore is doing some really incredible work at helping people who have housing fluidity, which is where I got that term from her. She created 4 tiny homes in her backyard and has been having people live in them for a few years now. And she also has this really beautiful garden, and it's a really safe space. So I love giving people the keys to their home. And I am also an award-winning realtor. I am one of the top agents in my company of 1,000 agents. Yeah, housing fluidity. I know. I loved it. When she told me that name, I was like, that's great. I'm using that from now on. Yeah, because some people live in their cars, some people live outside, some people are couch surfing. And so like, it's a different, I like that term better than saying unhoused. It's like not housed. It has a negative to it. So I like terms that are not so negative. Also, I'm holding a toilet paper in one of these photos, and it has a unicorn on it. A lot of my clients call me a unicorn agent because they never thought they could find somebody like me. And so I also have toilet paper all the time because I never know if someone's going to have to use the restroom when we're looking at houses. And so I thought of why not get some fun toilet paper with a unicorn on it? So that is a little bit about me. Okay. my goal is to demystify real estate. And so that's why, again, I'm having this every month. I get on here and I do a series about something different and try to help people understand real estate a little more, make it a little less mysterious, and answer questions that people have. Oh, and my other goal is to disrupt real estate because I think more people need to be able to become homeowners who have been left out for a long time. All right, so let's get into today's topic. Home is where the pride is. So, I want you to put in the chat, what year did the National Association of Realtors first add a question about sexual orientation to its annual profile of home buyers and sellers study? Think about what year do you think? Do you think it was like decades ago? Do you think it was just last year? What guesses do we have? 2010. Okay, good guess. Some earlier than that, 2000, the millennium. Okay, last year. Okay, the correct answer is 2015. So 9 years ago, they added this question to the profile. And it may have been because that was also the year when the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage across the country. So I think it might have had to do with that. Yeah. So let's see what that study found. Once they added that question, they came out with the results of that study. So this data is pulled from 2015 to 2020, and it said that let's see, it's not showing up on my side. So it says that most first-time home buyers or people in the community are more likely to be first-time home buyers. So we have non-LGBT is 32%, lesbian, gay 37%, bisexual 61%. More likely to be first-time home buyers. And then the study found that people in the community were usually younger. So 42, and they usually had a lower income as well, 93,000, and their purchase home price was usually 245,000. So again, you could see it's a little bit less. LGBT community is 42 median age, and then non-community is 46. So a little bit younger. The study also found that participants were more likely to identify as male, 51%, versus female, 40%, which is similar to the non-LGBT community as well. And 8% were gender non-binary. So the study found that most likely the ones to buy homes were married couples, but 1/5 were unmarried couples and 1/5 were single males. Typically, there were 2-person households, but more likely they were only 1-person households. The study also found, which was kind of an interesting question, they were less likely to have purchased a multi-generational home, which traditionally has been called a single-family home, or I like to call it a detached home because it's just by itself. And And they were more likely to have purchased a townhouse, row house, duplex, or condo. And that might be because those are usually cheaper, potentially. They were also more likely than non-LGBTQ to have purchased in urban areas and central cities. So that might also be why they were purchasing row houses or townhouses, because those are more likely to be found in urban areas and central cities. They were also more likely to place importance on convenience to entertainment and leisure and veterinarians, which I thought was kind of funny. But the other options in this question were like family. And so family wasn't as important as these other things when looking for their home. So this is an updated study. Remember, that was from 2015 to 2020. This one came out in 2023, so just last year. And this is the Real Estate Alliance report. And so the big question is, and is that showing up? Okay, yeah, okay, great. Is how many people are actually in this community, the LGBT plus community. And what they have found, this chart shows us, that it has been rising ever since 2012. And it currently is 7.2% of all US adults, which I had to look up how many that was. It's almost 19.5 million people as being, and they identified as being part of the LGBT plus community. And so that stat breaks down to more than one in, and also, well, we'll look at age next, but let me see if I have it. We'll look at age next. More than 1 in 5 Gen Z adults identify as being a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Oh, and that's where this is. So yeah, percentage of generations identifying as part of the community. So you have there, the biggest is Gen Z, which was born from 1997 to 2003. Then you have the millennials, which is my generation. I'm an elder millennial, born 81 to 96. Then you have Gen X, born 1965 to 1980 with 3%. Baby boomers, the 46 to 64 generation, and traditionalists born before 1946 is 1.7%. And then this is by age. So we have 30% are 18 to 24, which right goes again with that generation slide we just saw. And then 26% are 25 to 34, 20% are 35 to 49, 16% are 60 to 64, and then we have 7% are 65 and older. So we have here, I thought this was an interesting graphic as well. This is from the UCLA Williams Institute, and this is from 2019. So this one has the top 10 states with the highest LGBTQ plus population. And the highest one is actually Washington, D.C., which I was surprised by. I would have said California, but and then Oregon, and then Nevada, Massachusetts, and then California. So it's interesting. West Coast and East Coast, nothing in the middle. And then the top 10 cities with the highest percentage of LGBTQ plus people, we have, it kind of mirrors that, although Then you have in here, so you have Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, Boston. But then you have like Dallas, Texas. That wasn't even on the list in the other one. You have Miami, Florida, and then I think it probably says California over here. I can't see, my screen's blocked, but San Francisco. I think San Francisco is the highest. Yeah. Oh yeah, Nevada. Was Nevada in there? Let's see. Oh yeah, Nevada. Yeah, that is surprising. Lots of big cities. Yeah. San Francisco is the highest, which I think maybe is probably why I thought California would have been the highest, but it's it's only one city in California. Yeah. So now that we know where the LGBTQ plus community is, and also there are people everywhere. So this is just kind of like finding pockets of people. But it's important to think about what is happening in those communities and in relation to housing, because what we are seeing, you'll see here the alleged the ACLU is tracking is tracking 474 anti-LGBTQ bills in the US. So that's a lot. And you can see where they are, where the most of them are in the dark purple. So like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arizona, North Dakota, Iowa, yeah. All these states over here, Florida, California is kind of in the lighter 1 to 3. But so when people are thinking about where they want to live or where they are currently living, some of that has to do with what is happening with their laws and policies. And I have heard people moving because of the laws that are going into effect. Here in Sacramento, this just came out a couple days ago, or no, sorry, last year, June of last year. There was a survey and it showed that the home buying experience can be frightening for the LGBTQ plus community. And one of my colleagues is actually highlighted in this news clip. And we'll put a link to it in the notes down below in the chat. Let's see the chat. Sad that there are even those bills in existence, but I have hope for the future, especially with the younger generation of queers coming up. Yeah, I know. It's so sad. It's so like, I mean, well, we know who's in politics and it's not that generation. Although a lot of that generation has been slowly coming into politics, but like it is very like the traditional generation, right, is in politics right now. And so you would see why they would be putting these bills in. So I think the stats show that there are a lot of people who are younger people, our youth, who are part of the community. And so hopefully they will defeat those bills and not have those bills in the future. So I'm hopeful too. So where housing discrimination is most visible and this is according to the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance, which is an organization that I recently found out about when I was doing research for this presentation. And so let's see. The highest one was real estate. Well, actually, let's see. The highest one, legal forms needing signature, did not accurately represent the person. So again, like they had, maybe they had male woman, but they don't have like all the other categories. Or if they're in a partnership, right? And maybe it says husband, wife, but it doesn't say partner, any of those other categories. The other one, let's see, seller discriminated against prospective home buyer, 20%. That's high. I mean, it's 2024. I think this is from 2023, but that's wild. 19% was a landlord leasing agent discriminating against a prospective tenant. And then 17%, we have the landlord leasing agent refusing to rent to the prospective tenant. This one over here, 17%, real estate professionals discriminating against the prospective tenant, which is also why we need to disrupt the real estate industry, in my opinion. And then what is this 12%? Legal forms needing signature did not accurately represent. Yeah. So this is where it's most visible according to people in the Real Estate Alliance. This was really interesting too. I found out about this today. This had been posted like maybe a week ago, maybe a little bit longer than a week ago. And there was an Instagram post that the National Association of Realtors posted, and this was the post. Like, that's what it said. And I didn't screenshot any of the comments. I mean, I did on my phone just because I wanted to, but I wasn't going to share them because I don't want to share that kind of hate. But there are a lot of hateful comments on that post from real estate agents, which is like, I don't know. I mean, these people know that things are public and we're going to read them. I mean, if you want to know who not to use as your real estate agent, go to that post and see if you know anyone on it. Although there were a lot of other real estate agents who were, saying that they were allies and trying to shut the other people down, which I guess is social media, but it was wild. Over 900 comments, and a lot of them were against the community. So there's a lot of work yet to be done in the real estate community. I know, so much hate. It was, and then like their names are on them. I went and I clicked on some of the people's profiles just to see who they are. And these people have followers, and I mean, they're like real estate agents. Anyway, yeah. I went and followed some of the ones that left the good comments because I found some cool agents through that. And I was like, oh, you look like a cool person. Let me follow you. I think one of them was the pinup real estate agent or something like that. Hold on, let me get it for you because I don't want to misquote their Instagram handle. Okay, let's see. Yes, in Dallas, it's the pinup agent, Kimber Fox. Looks like a cool agent. So when there's hate, we also find the people who are not about hate. So there's that silver lining. So what can housing discrimination look like? We saw that survey, and now we can talk about more specifics of what it can look like. So maybe it's a mortgage lender who isn't upfront about the mortgage rate, which is really crappy. And I feel like you'd be able to know that because you can look them up, but it can also look like a real estate agent who refuses to represent you. So we'll talk about what you can do if you run into these situations, but a real estate agent shouldn't refuse to represent you, although if they do, you probably don't want to work with them anyways, but it's illegal. It could also look against seller or a real estate agent who refuses to consider your offer or who suddenly just declares the house off the market, which is also not allowed. It can look like if you and your partner have to work harder to get financing or pay more for it compared with hetero couples. So I have a little graphic here of people jumping through hoops that the other people don't have to jump through. What housing, it can also look like if you're turned away from certain rental properties, even when there's a vacancy. And that's where we saw, was it 20%? Yeah, it's horrible. So, how to take action if you have been discriminated against. And I see in the chat, building my army of real estate disruptors. Yes, I am excited about that. So, if you ever see another cool agent who you would call a unicorn agent, please send them my way. So how to take action if you've been discriminated against. Speak with an attorney, definitely. They know the law and they can tell you if you should file a case, all of that. You can file a complaint with HUD online or call their number. They also have a hearing impaired number. And I will also put this information in the link in the chat. And we'll put it on, we'll put it in the notes afterwards as well. You can also file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau online. And you can call the Lambda Legal Help Desk. And they have a website with a lot of really informative, helpful information as well. You can also contact your local ACLU, which stands for American Civil Liberties Union. And that was in the chart before, they were tracking how many anti-LGBT bills there are. They were tracking that. So they're like keeping an eye out on what's going on. And there's also something called the National Association of Gay and Lesbian Professionals. And so you can contact your state's chapter if there is one and tell them about what happened. So one way to avoid all of that is to find a real estate agent who will be your advocate. And so one of the ways I've had people come to me is they've found message boards. So we have Bigger Pockets, we have Reddit, and there'll be message boards where people can ask about agents in the area. Also, I've heard there are like Facebook groups where people can ask for a LGBTQ friendly agent recommendation, and I've had clients come to me that way as well. Another way is and I just recently learned, are those all showing? Some of them, most of them? Okay. I just recently learned about most of these because I didn't know. And in doing this research for this presentation, I learned. So there is, I found out about a gay realty network in San Francisco that was started in 2002. They have a Facebook and they have a website. I found out about the National Association of Gay and Lesbian Professionals as well. They have a website. The one that I found that was most updated is the Real Estate Alliance. And they actually have had for the past 3 years like a conference where they bring together LGBTQ plus community members and allies. And it looks really fun. And it looks like a really cool community. And they also have, so connected to them, they have the LGBTQ plus homes. And that's the website. It's LGBTQ+homes.com. And you can find a real estate agent, you can find a contractor, you can search and then like look at the area, look at it by area. And I thought that was a really cool resource. They also have bios on the different real estate agents. I recently, I found them, so I added my bio onto there as well. Yeah. So yeah, and then there is the gayrealestate.com. And that one looks like it's pretty up to date too. So those two, the gay real estate and the real estate alliance.org, that's actually a nonprofit. Those look like the more kind of updated ones. And I just found out about them, so I don't have all the info, but from my digging on their websites and news stories, it looked like they were pretty good organization. So once you have your agent, another key thing will be to find the right neighborhood for you. And I have a lot of clients, and no matter what they're looking for, we'll look and see like what flags are in the neighborhood, what signs are in the neighborhood. Just when you walk around, like who do you see walking around? Who do you see sitting on the front porch? So I think there are ways that you can find a neighborhood that you feel connected to. I have some clients and they have actually looked at the politics. Like there's somewhere you can go and you could see like how people voted. And so if that's something that you're interested in, you can check out those resources to find a neighborhood where you feel like you're going to be able to express yourself and fit in or stand out. I don't know. Why do we want to fit in? We stand out, but like in your own way. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to transition into some local stats because everyone's always interested in what the market is doing. So according to realtor.com, this brown line right here is May of 2024, where we are. This pink line is last year, 2023. And so you can see that we have more listings than last year. Currently, 787,000. We are up 35% year over year. And we're about in the middle of where we were. This is 2017, 2019 is the red line, and 2018 is the orange line. And this is nationwide. So it could be different in different cities. 2021 is this green line down here. And 2020 is this teal line here, when it was a little bit chaotic. So another resource I really appreciate is the Sacramento Appraisal blog with Ryan Lundquist, who is an appraiser here in Sacramento. His blog is full of information, including this slide, which shows the monthly housing supply in Sacramento County. And you can see that in 2007, 2008, we spiked up to 14 months of housing on the market. So that means that if everyone were to buy houses, it would take 14 months for those houses to get all purchased. Whereas right now in May, we are at 1.5 months. So that would be if no new homes came on the market in 1.5 months, there would be no more houses on the market, which is very different, you can see, from 2008. So inventory is low, is what this tells us. There aren't a lot of houses on the market. And we can see year over year. So this is from April of last year to April of this year. The median home price in last year was 565,000, and this year it's 600,000. So the median price went up 6%. The average price also went up 3%. The price per square foot went up 3%. And you can see the number of sales also went up 14%. So here in Sacramento, the market is not slowing down as much as maybe it is in other parts of the country. Although there are, this is interesting too. In April of last year, there were 41 days on the market was average, and now it's 27. So that actually has gone down as well. Bank-owned sales it's pretty steady. There were 12 last year and 11 this year. And for closures or short sales, 3 last year and 2 this year. So we're not seeing a big spike in those, which is good. When I started real estate, that's all there was, and it was horrible for everyone. And so that's why I like to keep an eye on that number, because if we start seeing short sales, then that means that people are in trouble and they're getting rid of their houses and they're not able to afford them. Here are some headlines that I found. The biggest one is the antitrust settlement, which you may have heard about in the news. It's the lawsuit that has been going on that's supposed to disrupt the whole industry and get rid of real estate agents. Well, that's some of the headlines I heard, but I think it's going to make things more transparent, potentially. It has the potential to do that. And I think it has the potential to help make sure that if you're buying a house, you know what's going on and you're more educated and you know who's paying for what. Hopefully. I'm crossing my fingers. We'll see though, because August 18th is actually the day when the multiple listing service, which is where all the houses live on this website, and then like Redfin and Trulia, they pull from that website the information. That is the day that the compensation or commission is no longer going to be on the MLS. It has to not be on there. And so it will mean that if I have a buyer, I will have to call the seller's agent and ask them how much compensation they are giving to the buyer's agent. I don't know if that's more transparent or not, because that means I have to make a phone call and it's not written anywhere, but we'll see what happens on August 18th. Also, it will be required that the buyers and their agents have a written agreement saying like what their responsibilities are and who gets paid for what, which I have been doing with my clients for the past 10 years. But a lot of agents weren't doing that because they felt uncomfortable having a contract. And I think it's great. I think that is really great. And I think it'll be very helpful for you as a buyer to know all of the costs and what your agent is supposed to do for you, because I know there are a lot of agents out there who maybe don't do all the things they should do. Yeah. Okay. I could probably have a whole class just on that settlement, and I probably should. So look out for that. This story from the LA Times about people who bought homes intending to refinance about a year ago when interest rates were going up. A lot of lenders were saying, hey, just buy the house. They said, date the rate, marry the house. Marry the house, date the rate. I don't know. I never liked that thing. But that's what they were saying, is like, get in the house, and then once you're in it for a while, you can refinance and lower your interest rate. Well, interest rates haven't gone down, they've gone up. And so a lot of people are feeling stuck. So Another tip for you if you're looking to buy a house is make sure you're comfortable with the payment, the mortgage payment, whatever that is, be comfortable with that because we don't know what the future will hold. So, another fun one here is the Full House is for sale if anyone wants to buy it. It is only $6.5 million in San Francisco. That is a lot of money. But yeah, you can buy the Full House. And this last one is talking about ADUs. And ADUs are actually 1 in 5 new homes in California is an ADU, which means accessory dwelling unit. And these were supposed to help make housing prices more affordable because people, I mean, I think that was one of the ideas because they thought if there were there was more housing, the prices would become more affordable. But I think what's happening from my perspective is people are buying homes and then splitting the lot and then adding an ADU and then selling that for more. So I don't know that it actually has made housing prices more affordable yet. But yeah, there was a crane that dropped a prefab house into a backyard here in Sacramento. So, and actually I think it's the Bay Area, you can actually buy an ADU separate from the house. So you can split the land and buy the ADU separate and the land that it's on. So that's now a thing as well. I'll have to find the article. I think in the Bay Area, like there was a tiny home that was like 300 square feet, and I think it sold for like $2 million. Anyways, okay. The Fed meeting actually, and the reason I bring them up is because they had a meeting yesterday. They're the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the US, and they're trying to figure out inflation, right? And interest rates. And they're trying to make sure that we can have a safe, flexible, stable monetary and financial system. And they met yesterday, and they said that they're only going to do one interest rate cut by the end of the year. So last year and at the beginning of this year, they said they were going to do 3 and they were going to go down probably to like 5%. And now they're only saying they're going to do 1, and it's going to be later, like September, November, or December meeting. So that is a big bummer for people who are buying houses because you want a lower interest rate. So those dates are dates to watch though, because that's when, if there will be an interest rate cut, that's when it will be. So I just shared a lot of information. Hopefully it was interesting to you. But I guess the question for you is like, where do you want to be now that you have all this information? Do you feel like you're more prepared to buy a house? I also have the question, excuse me, what's been most interesting or helpful to you today, if anyone would like to answer. And while you're doing that in the chat, I will share about ways that you can get more involved with me. I have a Yes, You Can Become a Homeowner self-paced course online, and it is short videos with step-by-step info to help you to prevent from feeling overwhelmed. And I also have an online community where you can ask questions and get information and feel like you are not buying a house by yourself. You're getting information that will be helpful to you. Let's see. All the statistics were super interesting. I also appreciated the info about what to look out for in terms of discrimination and action steps. Yeah. Yeah, because as we saw from the survey and the stats, right, that it's not a matter of if you'll be discriminated, but when. And so like if you are, when it happens, like here's what to do about it, and also how to try to avoid it. It's not entirely possible to always avoid it, but by being very intentional about who you're choosing to work with and getting references from people, those are some of the ways that you can try to avoid it. This is also my podcast, Home is Where, dot, dot, dot. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you would like to be on it and share your story of home, I would be happy to interview you. I also have 12 episodes you can listen to and hear about stories of home. I also have a home buying 101 guide. So if you would like to send me your email, I can send you this guide about buying a home. And if you or anyone you know are interested in selling a home, maybe you inherited a home, maybe you bought a home a while ago and you're ready to sell it, I also have this Love Selling Your Home guide. So I love to close with this photo of all my really amazing clients. A lot of them are part of the LGBTQ plus community. And actually in this photo, I think I counted 7 dogs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 dogs. My clients also have dogs. I have a cat, and a chicken. So, some more of my amazing clients, but just to help inspire you and show you that all of these people didn't feel like they could get a home. They didn't know where to start, and we were able to go from having no idea to getting the keys to their house. And in some cases, that took 1 month, and in some cases that took 3 years. So no matter where you are in your journey, just know that it is possible. And I wanted to thank you for coming today. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. And yeah, this was really fun. I learned a lot, and I'm hopeful. I'm going to go with being hopeful. Yeah. Any questions? Let's see what else is in the chat. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming. See you on the next one. Check out the YouTube channel for more. I'm glad you're feeling hopeful. I want to make sure we're hopeful because there's a lot of crap out there, and it's important to come back to like the hope and the good things that people are doing. And oh, there was a question about resources. So I did find, which was very interesting. There is a company, and it's not my company, so I didn't put in the slides, but it's Keller Williams, and they have a program, and I also don't know a lot about it, but they have a program, and it is, let me find it real quick. It's called the Rainbow Network, and it's really cool, and I want to try to see if my company can do it, potentially, because it has to do with like if there is an agent who's a member of that network and you buy a house with them, that and then their commitment as part of their commission goes back to you after you buy the house, which is really cool. And now I'm not quite finding the website for it, but yeah, it's called the Rainbow Network, and I don't even know if it still actually exists, but I did find something about it while I was doing research. I should look for some more stuff about it, but let's see. Um, this is so cool. I'm reading in the chat takeaways from the meeting. Yeah, I'll find it and share about it. I don't know if I really want to find it now, though. Let's see. We can always edit this video, right? I put it in my notes here in my slides. Let's go back. Oh, it's okay. So it's called the LGBT Housing Initiative. And what it's supposed to do, it says, is I don't know, maybe that's something different. Let's check out the FAQs. Okay. Okay, so what it's supposed to do, it's called the LGBT Housing Initiative, and it's with Keller Williams. And it says that once you close on your house, you will receive a 25% donation from the agent within 10 days after closing. So basically, the agent gets their commission and then they'll give you 25% back through this program. Which is very interesting because I don't know how, like usually I wouldn't be able to do that, like give a commission, give part of my commission back. So it is interesting that they were able to have this program. And I should find, yeah, grant funding. I don't know. There's so much out there that I'm always learning, which is great. And yeah, I'll have to see if there's another, like if there are more things like this. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for coming and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.